So imagine you just stumble upon a box. It's filled with decades of handwritten notes, random clippings, letters. This isn't some official history book. It's a life, in fragments. Today, we're diving into something just like that. We're exploring this accidental archive created by a Turkish intellectual living in Germany. And what's really amazing is how his private, personal diary becomes this perfect mirror for a world that's changing right around.
Okay, just listen to this one sentence he wrote back in 1991. It really captures the heart of this whole thing. It's this mix of German and Turkish, and it's this deeply personal thought about his own identity changing. He's watching himself, the intellectual, transform into a laborer, right down to his clothes. It's such a powerful, quiet moment of self-awareness, caught between two different cultures.
And that really gets to the core question we're asking here. How can something so private, a diary filled with personal thoughts, family birthdays, all the little daily frustrations, how can that also be a kind of public history? Let's start digging in and see how all these tiny fragments start to build a much, much bigger picture.
So first up, we're going to look at the two magnetic poles of this man's life. On one side, you have the incredible warmth and intimacy of his family, and on the other, you've got the cold, hard reality of being an immigrant trying to navigate German bureaucracy. In the middle of all these chaotic notes about politics and philosophy, his daughter, Sarah, is his anchor. She's the constant. You can literally watch her grow up through these entries. Her birth, her very first day of school, moving to a new high school, these are the moments that his whole world seems to revolve around.
And then you get this, a formal official letter from the health insurance company. It might seem boring, but think about what it represents. This was a constant presence in their lives, the endless paperwork, the impersonal state machinery that they had to deal with all the time.
And just like that, we swing right back from that sterile, bureaucratic world to a note of pure, simple tenderness. He writes that his daughter has a new nickname for him, Bobbish, and he's noticing the tiniest details, like how she suddenly doesn't like walking barefoot anymore. In an archive that's capturing huge historical shifts, this is the moment he felt was important enough to write down.
Now here, those two worlds, the personal and the bureaucratic, they just collide. This is part of a formal letter he's writing to try and get a new apartment. And the official reason he gives? His daughter got into a better school. It's a story we all understand, a parent trying to create a better future for their kid. But it's all documented here in the dry language of an application form. But the diary doesn't just look inward at his family. It's also looking outward at the entire community around him. The pages are full of his thoughts on the intense debates that were going on in the Turkish Muslim community in Germany, as it was really struggling to figure out its own identity. He actually records this incredible debate between two men, Metin Tashkaya and Mustafa Güngör, and they lay out two totally competing visions for their community. Tashkaya is arguing for spiritual wealth, and he's really critical of what he sees as hypocrisy. But then Güngör comes back and says that economic power is the only real path to getting respect and making progress.
Tashkaya's point is just so sharp. He's calling out that gap between what people say and what they actually do. He's saying that the person who claims a Muslim deserves the best often means that they deserve the best, not that they should give their best. It's a real critique of materialism from within the community itself.
And then Güngör offers a completely different view. He says the biggest problem he sees is a lack of economic drive. That without it, the community will always be at a disadvantage, always, as he puts it, running after the Germans. For him, building businesses isn't about greed. It's the foundation you need to earn respect and to actually be in a position to help others.
What's so fascinating is that these debates weren't just happening face-to-face. They were evolving with the times. Here, we've got a snapshot from the year 2000 of an early online forum, a kind of digital discussion circle, or halqa. You've got users with handles like Berliner3 getting into this super deep, theological debate about a single word from the Quran. They're using this new digital world to build community and chase down knowledge together.
Okay, let's pull the lens back even further now. Because beyond his family, beyond his community, this man was an incredibly sharp observer of the entire world. He was recording massive historical events, all from his unique vantage point as an immigrant intellectual in Berlin.
I mean, his entries are like a time capsule. One day it's just this stark, simple note on a huge geopolitical event. Saddam has invaded Kuwait. That's it, just one line. But it immediately places you and him in that exact moment in history.
And then his focus can shift completely. He goes from global conflict to global pop culture. He's not just noting down wars, he's capturing the moments that define a whole era. The massive scale of a Michael Jackson concert, that to him was also a historical event worth recording. It just shows you the amazing breadth of his curiosity.
And he's also a documentarian of his local German life. He clips out and saves an announcement for the local German-American festival and even jots down its theme, where dreams come true. You really get that sense of him as the outsider looking in, carefully archiving the cultural rituals of his adopted country.
And his observations often went way beyond just recording what happened. They sharpened into this really pointed analysis. This notice from '97, after he went to a lecture by the political scientist Samuel Huntington. He wasn't just a spectator. He was analyzing the political weather, sensing that, as he puts it, Europe's Eurocentric, racist vein is beating faster.
Which brings us to the biggest, most important question of all. Why? Why do this? Why spend decades meticulously recording everything from a child's nickname to global politics? Well, there's a single word that pops up over and over in his diaries, and it might just hold the key.
Many of his diary sections are just titled Zilzal. It's an Arabic word that means earthquake. And on one level, that's literal. He writes a lot about the horrible earthquake that hit Izmit, Turkey in 1999. But you quickly realize it's also a powerful metaphor for his entire life, a constant, seismic shaking of his personal, political, and spiritual foundations. His whole world is an earthquake.
And as he's searching for some stable ground in the middle of all this shaking, he turns inward. He tries to map out his own life, his own timeline. He writes, my mother, my past, my daughter, my future. And then he asks this raw, vulnerable question about his wife in the present. You can see it right there on the page. He is using the act of writing itself to try and make sense of his own story.
The Zilzal Diaries were an analog, accidental archive. But today, we all create digital archives every single day. Our photos, our posts, our private messages, it all adds up. So it leaves us with one last thought. If someone were to piece together all of your digital fragments decades from now, what story would your archive tell? What earthquake would it reveal?